as the infant moves from the one, from the perfect circle, out of the womb, into the duality, the distinction between the inner world and now the outer world, it begins in a state of grace. It begins in the expectation of a state of grace, in the transcendent brain. Of the four brains, the transcendent brain, the empathic brain, the rational brain, the limbic brain, and the reptilian brain, which the infant starts in the high areas of the brain. And depending on the level of trauma, on the level of sociopathic behavior, on the continuum from highly empathic to highly sociopathic, determines the speed and intensity with which the child is pushed down to the reptilian level, the fight, flight, freeze protocol to respond to a sociopathic environment. The intensity of the descent and the frequency of the descent also determines the degree of adaptive responses, meaning as the child is pushed down towards the reptilian brain in response to a sociopathic environment, its focus on transcendence, empathy, and interconnectivity moves towards individuality, individuation, and a survival coping strategy to survive in the reptilian environment. The degree of sociopathic stimuli determines the blood supply to the reptilian limbic brains. Later, with mental development, the reptilian brain, or the reptile in a human body, can start developing more sophisticated patterns of sociopathic engagement. In other words, I'll be nice to you because that's good to gain your trust so that I can do this, whereas the reptile is direct and clean with its attack or its flight. The rational sociopath is more competent, more manipulative, exploring which patterns work and repeating those, analyzing patterns and repeating those. So we move into a state of manipulation. The more empathic the environment, the less the pressure into individuation, the more of the awareness of family, of community, of divinity. The more awareness of the field that connects all things. Obviously, it's a lot more fun to hang out at the top. But what's interesting is the creativity process, the diversification process that comes from the downward movement. Adaptation, coping mechanisms, all kinds of unique survival strategies emerge out of traumatic experience. A certain amount of humor also emerges out of traumatic experience. One of the lenses that I'm exploring this through is the question or the lens about good and bad, because objectively, I don't think there is a good and bad, but personally there is. Personally, it's bad to be traumatized. It's bad to be violated. And yet the responses, the egoic structures that form in response to that lead to diversity and uniqueness. Positivity is unifying. Negativity is diversifying. And so you get a diversification with negativity, a proliferation of distinction. So that's what I'm noticing today, and it's a thought. It's a paradigm in development. Hi, I'm Dane Rose. All knowledge begins with a paradigm, and out of that paradigm comes an idea, an awareness that we adopt, reject, or synthesize into something better. It doesn't become wisdom, it doesn't become useful until we take action, until we integrate it into not only our thoughts, but our feelings, our body, our words, and our way of being. For that to occur, we have to move from the passive media paradigm into more active engagement. In the link below, in the More Information section, is an invitation to join a very small, deliberately filtered, high-quality discussion with a group of people who share a common language and want to work with these ideas, with me and with one another, with the sole goal of creating 10 times more sustainable well-being for ourselves and those around us per unit of energy invested. Thank you for watching.